Hi, this is Mark with Circle of Dark Mother. Today we're going to talk about who are the Dark Mothers. So why Dark Mother goddesses? Dark Mother goddesses are not evil. Dark deities are about transformation, evolution, and shadow work. They take us to the dark recesses of our mind and personality to help uplift us and bring us to our true self. Dark Mother goddesses are the faster path to enlightenment because they are dauntless to keep us moving forward. They will kick our butts to get us moving and force us to look at what we don't want to see. Their transformation may feel like death to our ego, even though it's not, so they can be frightening. They push at everything that is hidden, which makes us very uncomfortable. They are found in all cultures and in every spiritual path that is experiential and not dogmatic. We will cover some, not all, because the list would go on and on and on, of the Dark Mothers from various civilizations. And please feel free to put in the comments any Dark Mothers you'd like to see covered in the future. So first, as you know, I'm a devotee of Lilith, so we're going to put her first. Lilitu and Lilith, Mesopotamian and Judeo-Gnostic. Lilitu is the Syrian name for a goddess demon that first appears in ancient Sumeria at approximately 4,500 BCE. And that first appearance is only because that's when writing begins. She probably exists much before that. Her Sumerian name was Dim-mi-gi and means she who comes in the wind. She was seen as a goddess of sexuality and a spirit of sacred prostitution. When the Jewish people were in exile in Babylon, they brought Lilith back with them. She was called the first wife of Adam, a demon, a consort of several archdemons, and the sometimes consort of God Most High. Gnostics call Lilith the first Eve and see her as a dark mother enlightened being. Today, Lilith is seen as a demon, goddess, and a symbol of feminism. She is the goddess of all who have been marginalized. Noria, Gnostic. In the Gnostic text, the hypostasis of the archons and the thought of Noria, a female figure named Noria, is central. Not mentioned anywhere else in Gnostic literature, little is known about her, but she is said to be either Eve's daughter or the wife of Noah. Interestingly, Noria is the Coptic Greek version of the Hebrew name Neama and also means pleasant. And of course, you may know Neama is a name of a demon associated with Lilith. Midrash of Noah's wife being named Neama was known and embraced by the later Gnostics. In hypostasis of the archons, Noria demands passage on the ark, and when Noah denies her, she wields the power of fire and burns the entire ark to ash, leaving Noah to build a new one. Noria is seen as an enlightened goddess by Gnostics and is thus a perfect avatar for higher consciousness. Babylon from Thelema. Thelema is a magical path created by Aleister Crowley based in Gnosticism, Western ceremonial magic, Kabbalah, and Eastern traditions. In Crowley's writing, he describes a goddess known as Babylon, who is also called the Scarlet Woman, Great Mother, or Mother of Abominations. She is described in her most abstract term as the female sexual impulse and liberated woman. It is interesting that the terms Great Mother and Mother of Abominations are both used to describe Babylon, because many would consider those opposite titles. In Kabbalistic teachings, everything outside of the primordial no thing that is true divinity is Qliphoth, a husk of darkness, because it is a covering or shell that brings the divine spark into creation. So her being of both makes her the mother of all. Durga from Vedic tradition. Durga is a major Hindu goddess who is worshipped as a principal aspect of the mother. She is associated with protection, strength, motherhood, destruction, and war. Durga is usually depicted riding a tiger or lion with many arms carrying weapons. She is the protector that slays demons to liberate the oppressed and empower creation. Her name means impassible or invincible. In the Vedas, Durga is considered the supreme deity of Shaktism. Shakti is the divine feminine principle. Images of Durga, or entities like her, can be traced back as far as the Indus Valley Civilization, 3,300 to 1,300 BCE. Kali from Vedic tradition. Kali is also referred to as Hakali, Bhadrakali, or Kalikali. She is the Hindu goddess who is considered to be the goddess of ultimate power, time, destruction, and change. The first mention of Kali is her emerging from the goddess Durga and is regarded as the ultimate manifestation of Shakti. She destroys evil to defend the innocent. Her name is the feminine form of Kala, an epithet for Shiva, and she is a consort to Shiva. She is also called Kalimala, the Dark Mother. Interestingly, there may have been influence from Near Eastern myth because Kali drinks blood like the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet and wears a necklace of heads like the Levantine goddess Anat. Her most iconic depiction is standing on the prone form of Shiva, who came beneath her to purge her anger. Kurukulo, Buddhist. Kurukulo is a Tibetan Buddhist goddess who also is known as Mother Buddha Kurukulo. She is depicted as red-skinned with 4 arms, holding a bow and arrow made of flowers and a hook noose of flowers. She dances in Dakini pose. Kurukulo was likely originally an Indian tribal deity associated with magical domination. It is believed she ruled over love and war. She was later assimilated into the Buddhist pantheon. Her function in Tibetan Buddhism is subjugation, which is also colored red. Sometimes she is called the Red Tara, and her primary mantra is Kurukuli Hrisvaha. Obsidian Butterfly, Aztec. In Aztec religion, Itzpapalotl, Obsidian Butterfly, was a skeletal warrior goddess who ruled over the paradise for victims of infant mortality and the place of human creation, sort of the Aztec Garden of Eden. Her name can either mean obsidian butterfly or clawed butterfly. Clawed butterfly may refer to the bat, and sometimes she's depicted with bat wings. Her wings are made from obsidian and are knife-tipped. She can appear as a beautiful, seductive woman or as a frightening skeletal goddess. In myth, she's described as a heart-devouring goddess that destroys evil. Owl Woman, Native American. The historical owl woman, Mistanta, lived with 1 foot in the white world and the other in that of the Cheyenne. She was born during a time of increasingly strained relationships between Native Americans and white settlers. She was born around 1810. Owl Woman is also a mythical goddess who oversees the bridge between life and death. If she knows you, she will let you pass. If not, she throws you over the bridge and into eternal destruction. Because owls have exceptional sight and can turn their heads almost 180 degrees, they are the perfect avatar for a goddess who sees into the hearts of those that cross her path. Ixchel, Mayan. Ixchel is a Mayan goddess who is the aged jaguar goddess of midwives and medicine. She is called the goddess of making children. She is often depicted as an aged woman with jaguar ears. It is unclear what her actually means in Mayan language. Chel can mean rainbow, but the full name is yet to be deciphered. Her iconography suggests she may also be an earth and war goddess and possibly a rain goddess. This is because of her iconography and her name being referenced in several lists of these types of goddesses. And of course, it would make sense that a rainbow would have something to do with it. In the 16th century, Mayan women would travel to her sanctuary on the island of Cozumel to ensure a fruitful marriage. Santa Morte, Mexican. Mictlantecuhtli was the Aztec goddess of death and the ruler of the underworld. Her name means Lady of the Dead. After the Spanish conquered the Aztec Empire, the natives were all forced to convert to Christianity. However, many kept their veneration of the Lady of the Dead. Because of punishment of worshiping non-Christian deity, they began to call her Santa Morte and dressing her in the robes of Mother Mary, and her name became Saint Death. Santa Morte is seen as non-judgmental and a goddess for everyone. Most of her devotees are from the urban working class in Mexico and has more women followers than men. Historically, most of her devotees were Catholic, but more and more people are following her and not staying in the church. She's a popular deity in prisons and with prostitutes and gang members. Because she works with everyone evenly, all can come to her. Pombagira from Quimbanda in Brazil. Pombagira is not one deity, but a group of them in the Brazilian Quimbanda spiritual tradition. Quimbanda mixes African religion, native Brazilian mysticism, European ritual magic, and Jewish Kabbalah. At the heart of Quimbanda are the ideas of Eshu and Pombagira. These are the male and female spirits whose many personalities, characteristics, and practices are legion. Eshu and Pombagira are combinations of deities and the spirits of dead humans who have embraced the archetype represented by both. The Eshu are all male, while the Pombagira are all female, with a couple exceptions. For instance, there is a two-head, which is considered a Pombagira, that has one male head and one female head, and then there's a transgendered Pombagira. Pombagira means spiraling or turning dove and relates to the female spirits taking on any aspect they need, depending on the situation. Quimbanda teaches that the mother or source of all Pombagira is Lilith, and their queen is Neama. Nephthys, Egyptian. Nephthys, or her original Egyptian name, Nephthys, was a daughter of the primordial gods Nut and Geb. Nephthys was the sister of Isis. She's considered a protector of the mummy along with her sister because of their brother Osiris and her husband brother Set. Nephthys roughly translates to the lady of the house or the lady of the temple. She is the goddess of mourning, the night, and darkness, childbirth, the dead, magic, health, embalming, and beer. Nephthys is a protective goddess who symbolizes the death experience. In some myths, she is the mother of the funerary god Anubis. Sekhmet, Egyptian. Sekhmet is the daughter of the Egyptian sun god Ra. She was seen as the vengeful manifestation of Ra's power, the Eye of Ra. She is usually depicted with a lion head and said to breathe fire and was believed to cause plagues. Interestingly, she is often associated with war and healing. It seems she could cure the plague she started. In a myth that describes the end of Ra's rule, he sends the goddess Hathor in the form of Sekhmet to destroy any mortal who were against her. Her bloodlust was not quenched at the end of the battle, which led her to destroying almost all of humanity. To stop her, Ra poured out beer that was dyed red so that she became drunk and gave up and returned to him. During an annual festival at the beginning of the year, the Egyptians held a festival of intoxication where they danced and played music to reenact the drunkenness that stopped Sekhmet's wrath. Oya, Yoruba. In Yoruba religion, Oya is the goddess of weather and one of the most powerful deities in Africa. She was also a strong and brave warrior who was thought to be unbeatable. Oya is considered an Orisha in Yoruba, meaning she was sent by one of the three manifestations of the supreme god. She's also known as Oya, Yansa, Lansa, Oya Lyansa, Odo Oya, Oya Ajiri, Ayebu Nakua, Ai Loda. Oya, along with her brother Shango, were born to the sea goddess Yamaya. In legend, she was considered unable to bear children. However, she took a sacred cloth with the colors of the rainbow and made a sacrifice. This allowed her to give birth to 9 children. As a goddess of weather, she commanded lightning, storms, winds, tornadoes, and even earthquakes. Urzuli Dantor, Voodoo. Urzuli Dantor is a Loa, or spirit of Haitian voodoo. She is associated with motherhood, protection, and the LGBTQ plus community. She is usually depicted as a strong Black woman with tribal scars on her cheek and often holding a child in her arms. She is associated with the Catholic saints Santa Barbara Africana, Our Lady of Setokova, and Our Lady of Perpetual Help. She is queen of the Petro Nation, which is a group of fiery, aggressive Loa, which is a contrast to her sister, Urzuli Frida, the Loa of love and beauty. In Haitian mythology, even though she represents hardworking women and mothers, she also has the power to destroy. When she is displeased, she's described as red-eyed. Her destructive power often come in the form of natural disasters and forces of nature. Hecate, Greco-Roman. Hecate, or Hecate spelled with a C, is a Greco-Roman deity often shown holding a pair of torches, a key, snakes, and sometimes accompanied by dogs. In later periods, she's depicted as a triple goddess who is associated with crossroads, entrances, night, magic, and protection. Hecate was considered a titan that preceded the Olympians, but because she aligned with Zeus, was still worshipped and connected to the other gods. The origin of Hecate is unknown, although there is a recent theory that she was actually imported from ancient Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, because of depictions of deity that match her description. Hecate's abode is in the underworld, and she is depicted as leading Persephone to the surface after her time in Hades was complete. Because Hecate is associated with magic in the underworld, she's a popular deity for pagans. Her depiction with torches and keys also places her as a goddess who can lead initiates through the universes into enlightenment. Some call her the Queen of Heaven, the Queen of Hell, and the Queen of Earth. Nyx or Nox, Greco-Roman. Nyx is the Greco-Roman goddess who is the personification of night. Her Roman name is Nox. She is said to have been created very early in creation, was the mother of other personified deities, Aether, brightness, Hemera, day, Morris, doom, Keris, destruction, Anoiroi, dreams, Momus, blame, Oasis, pain, Nemesis, retributions, Apate, deceit, Philotis, friendship, Garrus, old age, Eris, strife, Hypnos, sleep, Thanatos, death, and the Morte, fates. Her partner is Erebus, darkness. She is the firstborn child of chaos and thus much more ancient than most of the Greco-Roman gods. Her abode is in Tartarus, the underworld. Every night she leaves her home. When she returns, her daughter Hemera, day, departs. Eris, Discordia, Greco-Roman. Eris, Greek, and Discordia, Roman, is the goddess of strife and discord. Her opposite is the goddess Harmonia or Concordia. There are no known temples to Eris or Discordia anywhere in the Greco-Roman world. There could have been and destroyed, but they don't know of any. The most famous tale of Eris is her initiating the Trojan War. The goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite were invited with the rest of the Olympians to the wedding of Pallas and Thetis, the parents of Achilles. Eris was not invited because she was known to be a mischief maker. She throws an apple of discord, which is inscribed with the phrase, to the most beautiful. She throws it into the middle of the crowd. The goddesses all began to argue, and they told Paris to decide who was the fairest. This caused all the events that later precipitated the war. Eris has been adopted as the patron of the modern Discordian tradition, which has started in the late 1950s. Medusa, Greco-Roman. Medusa was one of the three monstrous gorgons described as winged human females with living venomous snakes instead of hair. Anyone who gazed into her eyes would turn to stone. In some myth, her and her sisters were born to ancient marine deities and were the embodiment of terror. In later myth, Medusa was originally a beautiful maiden who was a priestess to Athena. Poseidon rapes her in the temple, taking away her virginity. In a completely horrible turn of events, Athena chooses to punish Medusa by turning her into a gorgon. In some myths, she only has snake for hair, but in others, her whole lower body is a snake, like Lamia. Medusa is eventually killed by Perseus, who uses a shield as a mirror and beheads her. Hel, Norse. In Norse mythology, Hel is the goddess of the underworld, where most people go, versus Valhalla, where warriors go after death. She is generally considered the daughter of Loki and was appointed by Odin to rule the realm that shares her name. She is sometimes said to be half blue and half flesh, colored with a gloomy appearance. Sometimes she is depicted with a partial skull showing on her face. Hel means concealed place and is associated with the Norse underworld. Hel and her realm are mentioned in both the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda. Her siblings, also children of Loki, are the wolf Fenrir and the serpent, Jogmungandr. The Morrigan, Celtic. The Morrigan is a goddess from Irish mythology. Her name means either Great Queen or Phantom Queen in Irish Gaelic. She is mostly associated with war and fate, especially with foretelling doom, death, or victory in battle. She encourages warriors to battle and to do brave deeds while striking fear into their enemies. The Morrigan has been depicted as a trio of individuals, which are sisters, called the Three Morgana, consisting of either Bab, Macha, and Namain, or Bab, Macha, and Anand. And I apologize, I don't know Gaelic very well, so I could have mispronounced this horribly. Scholars believe that all of these names were names of the same goddess that was later incorporated into the Morrigan's triform. The Morrigan is a shapeshifter who is associated with black birds, such as crows or ravens. She is also associated with the banshee of later folklore. Karadwin, Celtic. Karadwin was an enchantress in medieval Welsh legend. She was the mother of the hideous son Afagthu and a beautiful daughter, Cruirli. Legends refer to as possessing the cauldron of poetic inspiration and magic, which is the Awen. She uses the cauldron to mix up a potion that will make her son brilliant, since he isn't attractive. Unfortunately, it needs stirred continuously. She employs a boy named Guenbach, who accidentally gets a drop of the potion in his mouth, destroying the rest, making it unusable for Karadwin's son. Karadwin turns into a dragon and swallows Guenbach, who later she gives birth to as the famous Welsh poet named Taliesin. The story was recounted in 13th century, but most probably stemmed from an older myth where Karadwin is a goddess of magic. And last but not least, Baba Yaga, Slavic. Baba Yaga is a supernatural being from Slavic folklore. She is one of a trio of sisters with the same name. In fairy tales, she flies around in a mortar, wields a pestle, and dwells in a hut that is said to stand on chicken legs. She may help or hinder those who seek her out. The etymology of her name comes from the Babusia, which means grandmother or old woman, and Giz, which means witch. In narratives, it is unclear if she is a goddess, a witch, or some other kind of mystical creature. Instead of a dark mother, Baba Yaga is more of a dark grandmother who may help you or destroy you, depending on her mood. Thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting. Again, these are just a smattering of dark goddesses because there are so many. And again, if you want to put names in our chat or in the comments below so we can research others. If you like our content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.